Okay, so this is lesson 7.2, which is solving problems involving area of a parallelogram. So we're going to kind of build on some prior knowledge in order to think about the area of a parallelogram. So first, let's think about the rectangle. The rectangle, if we were to find the perimeter, remember that perimeter is the distance around a shape. So for example, if this was 2 and this was 4, it would be 2 plus 4 plus 2 plus 4. Because remember, with a rectangle, opposite sides are congruent, and all the angles technically are also 90 degrees. So again, perimeter would be 2 plus 4 plus 2 plus 4. Okay, so when it comes to perimeter of a parallelogram, we find the perimeter the same way. If this was instead 3 and this was 4, right, we would do 3 plus 4 plus 3 plus 4. Because again, with a parallelogram, opposite sides are congruent. So 3 plus 4 plus 3 plus 4. That will be the perimeter of a parallelogram. Okay, so now let's take a look at area. Area of a parallelogram, again, let's say, or sorry, rectangle, if this was 2 and this was 4, let's go ahead and divide it up into 2 units. That means that this is 2 units long, 1, 2, and this is 4 units long. So something like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So let's go ahead and create a little grid. And area is the amount of space, 2D space, that something takes up. So this is 1 square centimeter, sorry, 1 square unit, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we actually know that the area of this is 8 units squared, because this is 1 unit squared, this is 1 unit squared, 1 unit squared, 1 unit squared, right? The way that we find this, the formula for that is area equals base times height, where let's just say that 4 is my base and 2 is my height. And we're going to talk a little bit more specifically about height in a moment, but height will always be perpendicular to the base. There always has to be a 90-degree angle there. Okay, so let's take a look at the parallelogram. In the parallelogram, let's say that this is 4 again, and this is 3, not that it matters. But imagine if we were to cut off this triangle here. If we were to cut this off, we could place it right here, and it'd be the same area. So like we cut this off and we moved it over here. Now this line is 2, so 1, 2 units. This is 4. So it ends up being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units. Ends up being 8 units again. We're still going to do base times the height, which is perpendicular to the base. So area of a parallelogram is actually still base times height. However, height must be perpendicular to the base. Always. So there has to be this 90-degree angle saying that it's perpendicular to the base. We'll do some practice, no worries. So let's quickly deal with some heights. If this is the base, something I like to do is I like to turn my paper so that the base is always flat to me. Okay. And then I might take a corner of, say, a piece of paper. I'm going to use a Post-it note for now. And I'm going to line up, because this is a 90-degree angle. the corner of a paper. And I'm going to line up my paper with my base. So see how this is in line with my base. And then I'll quickly draw a line like this. I have made a 90-degree angle with the base. So if this is the base, this will be the height. Okay, let's extend this base out this way. You also can draw from the tip down. So I'll bring this over, even with the line. And this would be my height. Let's try it again. I'm going to turn this paper so that the base is flat towards me. I'll zoom in this time. If this is my base, again, I'm going to line up the corner of my paper with the base and move it over. And then I'll go ahead and draw a perpendicular line straight down. This is my height. I could also extend the base and go from the tip and go straight down. Both of these lines are my heights. Let's try one more. With this one, a little confusing, but again, just turn the base so it's flat towards you. Notice that now my base is flat or horizontal towards me. I'm going to line up my paper with the base. Maybe I'll go to this corner, and I'm going to draw a line straight down. That is my height. If I were to extend to where this tip is, so maybe I'll use my paper to extend the line so it's straight. I'll put this flat with my line and draw a line straight down. Identifying where the height is very important for finding area of parallelograms. If you need to, replay that section. Okay, let's go to the guided practice. Number 1, find the perimeter and the area. So we're going to find both perimeter and area of this parallelogram. So let's deal with the perimeter first. Perimeter, we're going to add up all the sides. So it'll be 7 plus 12 plus 5 is not part of the side. This is the side of the parallelogram, which is 7 plus 12. Add those all up. 7 plus 12 is 19. 7 plus 12 is 19. And so the perimeter is 19 plus 19 is 38. Now let's move on to the area. Area equals base times height. I'm going to write my formula first. I need to find my base. Okay, so let's say that 12 is my base. Okay, so if 12 is my base, then my height has to be perpendicular to it. So I'm looking for this 90-degree angle. And 5 will be my height because it is perpendicular to the base. 7 is slanted. It's not perpendicular. 5 is. So area will equal base, which is 12, times the height, which is 5. So area equals 12 times 5, which is 60 feet squared. Okay. One more problem, then you'll do the check-in question. The perimeter of a parallelogram is 40 centimeters. I'm going to go ahead and put P equals 40 centimeters. And I'm going to go ahead and draw a picture of a parallelogram because if there is no picture, I'm going to draw a picture. A slanted side length is 6. So this slanted side length can be 6 centimeters. If the area is 70 inches or centimeters squared, what is the height? So we're solving for the height. Okay, we don't know the height, we're solving for the height. So the first thing that we need is we need to find out what the base is because it said that this is the slanted side. Ultimately what we're solving for is that height. We don't know it. So we need to know what this base is so that we can do base times height to find the area. So let's first deal with the perimeter. We'll add up all the sides. I don't know this side, so I'm going to go ahead and just put an x there. So it'll be 6 plus x plus 6 plus x. 6 plus 6 is 12. X plus x is 2x. At this point, I ask myself, how am I going to solve for x? Well, I know that the perimeter is 40, so I'm going to go ahead and substitute 40 in for p. Subtract 12 from both sides. All right, so I'll borrow from the 4. 10 minus 2 is 8. 3 minus 1 is 2. Divide both sides by 2, and I get x to equal 28 divided by 2 is 14. So this is 14, and that's 14. Okay, so now let's move on to the area. Ultimately, I'm solving for the height. So the base of my shape is 14. The height, we don't know. And the area is 70. So now I have 70 equals 14h. I'll divide both sides by 14. You can go ahead and hit pause and go and do scratch work. However, 70 divided by 14 is 5. Double check, solving for height. I have height. My height is 5 centimeters, and I'm done with my problem. Use the answer key to check your work.